it's really wonderful. But the opposite of that is that we're dealing with people that often of the time that pull us into the matrix, the children of the matrix, and they are children. People of the matrix are not, they are people, but they're children, right? What is somebody that is adolescent? What is somebody that hasn't grown up? Who's somebody that's asleep? That's somebody who hasn't grown up, right? So on every level, they are like children. I mean, emotionally, somewhat intellectually, spiritually, right? From many point of views, all dynamics. They are like children. And so they are children of the matrix. Again, that's why government is such a heavy hand in people's lives. Big daddy, big brother, you know, big father, etc. Telling people what to do, how to think, etc. That's the idea. And that's kind of what's going on here. It's that we needing to be parented, right? We need the authoritarians, right? We can't do it for ourselves. We can't think for ourselves, etc. And we don't know how to direct our own lives. We don't even know how to make meanings of our own lives. Right? We don't even know we don't know anything. We wait and rely on government to tell us what to do. Media to tell us what to do. Celebrities, whatever, tell us what to do. School teachers, all the time, and we entrust in them. We trust the experts if we're crying out loud, right? And even though when we know they're directly lying to us, we will still suppress that because we won't even bother to think for ourselves. And that's a child. Child completely trusting the authorities because it doesn't know any better. It has no confidence in itself. Now, it's not a child's fault not to have any confidence in itself because it's still developing that confidence, or it's being stripped away of that confidence most likely. But without that sense of confidence, right, without that sense of self-love, right, you're susceptible to other people's direction or impressions on you, whatever it is, right? You hand over your own sovereignty to other people, no question about it. And that's what a child needs to do, hands over the rails to the parents and entrusts the parents because it doesn't know any better. But when you get to a certain age of maturity, the individual should know better and they should be self-governing and sovereign and free thinking, right? And making a plan of their own life, not being told the plan for their life, not giving the meaning for their lives. And so the thing is that in this world, one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest, again, pandemics is arrested development, right? Isn't it arrested development? Again, this thing with awareness and consciousness is that when you wake up in your life, I mean, you could be the age of 35, 49, but essentially you wake up as the age that you became arrested at, you became stuck at, where you didn't grow, the seasons of your life, you didn't grow through the seasons of your life, especially emotionally, right? You stayed stuck at 7 years old, 6 years old, 4, 5 years old, whatever it might be, maybe some for 9 years old, but that's as much. So you're a 45-year-old man, right? But you have the emotional literacy, um, you understand yourself, or you actually, you're a child. You function at the level of a child, right? You understand in a very, very adolescent way. I mean, your priorities are that of a child, okay? I mean, you want satisfaction, you want gratification, right? You want the approval of others, you need the approval of others. You want happiness, you want joy, right? You want fun, okay? And a lot of the time irresponsibly, without any boundaries, because that's happens with the children, is that they don't have the boundaries. They just want to, go wild and enjoy and, have a party and whatever it is, which is good for a child. But as an adult, we don't take on that responsibility. We don't grow up and we still behave like children and we talk like children and we talk to each other like children. In fact, we call each other baby, you know. People used to call each other honey back in the 1960s, 70s. Honey, honey, Men used to call it, but now we call each other baby. And a woman to call a man a baby, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. And so we actually given the lingo, we're given the words to, keep each other at an infantile state. Okay? baby girl, baby boy, baby daddy, all these other terms that go on, whatever it is, my crib, you want to come and see my crib. That's more sort of hip hop, but it filters into the subconscious, and so it is. It's like, we're playing a game here. That's what society and culture is about. It's about a game. He who dies with the most toys wins. Children love toys. Children love candy. They got a sweet tooth, children, right? And so they got a lot of the children, they haven't yet developed um, self-control, willpower, okay? They haven't. They're also very self-entitled. And so what I'm saying today is what you see in the world today of how many people that, just don't have any control over their diet or their health or, their addictions. Let's just say addictions a lot of the time, and whatever it is. And because these aspects of ourselves did not develop, self-control, willpower, whatever it might be, lack of sense of entitlement, because at the same time we need government to do everything for us. We want government to do everything for us. We want them. It's like, because we need them. Anyway, that's something else. But, so, what was I saying? So, yeah, that's the thing, is that like, it's very difficult. It's very challenging when we're around people that are children of the Matrix, right? Because we're having to really deal with them on a very infantile level. And what happens is that it's really discouraging and disheartening for the conscious individual, for you know, the authentic self, or the spirit, if you will, that has been growing up and sees the sacredness in life, sees that it's not futile, which a lot of, children do. Or the people that there is no meaning, in a sense. They haven't developed a sense of meaning, or like that there's an intelligent design or process of life that is unfolding, that we're very much involved in, type of story. They haven't come to any kind of metaphysics of reality. They have science, which is like a child's play, type of thing, and whatever it is, and completely contradictory and full of holes and flaws and, just many opinions or whatever it is. There's no mystical, there's no, and so even the medical industry, I mean, I think the medical industry has gone absolutely backwards. When you look what's going on today, for heaven's sake, look what's going on today. So I think that the medical industry and, pharmaceutical industry, and to a large degree, it's like, it's not holistic, it's not responsible, right? And does more harm than good. Napoleon Bonaparte said that your doctors will have more lives to answer for in the next world than us generals. And I believe it to be true. Now, I'm not saying there aren't good doctors out there. I'm not saying that, you know, uh, for myself, that I've been assisted in so many good ways by, the medical industry. Like when I had kidney stones, or I've needed certain things here and there. I'm very grateful for it. But I really believe that does more harm than good. I really believe that. I think also psychiatry as well, psychology as well, right? Education as well, law as well, police as well, governance as well, right? It's all mishandled. It's all very childish, right? It's cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. That's the world that we kind of live in, right? And completely desire motivated. So, that's the kind of world we live in. And so it's very, very adolescent. Like I spoke in my last little recording about like love. We didn't even understand what love is. But, how many love songs are there? And they're not even really talking about love. They're just talking about obsession, codependency, how to manipulate somebody, and so on and so forth, and how this person makes you feel about yourself. And a lot of the time, it's really sexual. How does this person make you feel about yourself sexually? I'm saying in regards to romantic relationships. Like, how does this person make you feel about yourself sexually? Do they turn you on? Do they give you a little bit of a, make you feel a bit randy? as he says in Austin Powers. And that's what I remember for myself, what it was about back in my day. It was like, oh, she's sexy, I'd like to, whatever, I mean, it was motivated by sex, and so, but I love you, baby. I love you because you just, you know, whatever, you just appeal to my lower, my, type of, not lower, but my lower parts of my body, yes, type of thing, and whatever it is. So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of the time love can also be. It's just all very, very immature. It's all very, very adolescent. Okay? We never grow up. Like that song, um, Never Grow Up. There's a tattoo on my shoulder. In the car, you can't. What's it? So, baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford with that tattoo on your shoulder. We ain't ever getting older. That's it, man. I mean, I know that song because I did a video on it. I don't like the song at all. But it's like, we ain't ever getting older. We ain't ever getting older. I did another song about it, like we, young, dumb, and broke. You know, there is this real idea of us, this learned helplessness that we are given in this life. This victimization, this learned helplessness that majority of people walking carry around with. And I mean, the system doesn't mind to inform you how it's screwed you over. A lot of the time, I mean, especially with like sort of so-called truther channels, informing you, oh, well, you were screwed, and they screwed you this, and they screwed you by your tax money, and they screwed you by your name being on your birth certificate, and they use you as a commodity or something like that, whatever, and this is how they screw, and this is how you've been screwed, and this is how you take it up the real pipe, whatever. And a lot of it, like the Alex Jones style, is just mere, well, you're a victim, man. You're helpless, learned helpless, and there's nothing you can do, so get mad and get angry, you know? And that's it's even a lot of the truth community is really just about, oh, just being enraged most of the time, situation and becoming violent, right? And feeling just sort of abused and betrayed and neglected and taken advantage of, and just that's it. Just sit with that, right? Just sit with that. And then you've got the new age on the other side, which is like, don't sit with that. Just connect with what makes you feel good, right? And you look at the positive side of things. Com- you see, so it's like the black and the white again, and how it's played, and again, just very little that's real. I mean, the childishness of the New Age movement, you know, and I know that's generalizing, but what I'm saying is a lot of the thought, the thinking of the New Age movement, you know, just a lot about the positivity, a lot about the feeling good. Even Joseph Campbell, like follow your bliss, you know. There is a point to it, but it's also very dangerous at the same time. So our our culture is designed for us to be adolescent, right? To be children, and I mean, it's choices are limited, you know, and and even just the whole design and plan of life is just pathetic. It's just so childish, right? It's just and whatever, even from weddings, I'm sorry, the whole sort of Cinderella type of idea, oh, you look so pretty in your white dress. It's amazing, no matter how over, just under whatever, just, I'm saying the people are in, whatever it might be, you put on the wedding dress and the groom, whatever, and you just look the most beautiful wife that in the world. It's your one day. And how many young girls plan for this day for most of their life? I mean, I remember my brother once saying about how his daughter just like sort of, imagines her wedding day so often, and she tries on her dresses or different dresses and walks around her room, and I'm thinking, well, there you go, Disney, child of Disney, that type of thing. But that's it, this dream. We're told to dream of the white picket fences, dream of marrying that supermodel, whatever it is, dream of getting that position at the office, dream at getting that certificate on your wall, and that's the be all and end all, and things like that. So it's all dream, dream, dream. There's a song like that. And it's all just dream. And then the new age will tell you just dream and your dreams will come true. type of thing. Whatever you dream, whatever you desire, like this kind of shit. So it's completely, it's a despiritualized reality world. It's got nothing of alchemy in it. It's got nothing of transmutation in it. It's got nothing of meaning or substance to it. It's got nothing of the rites of passage that we take. It's got no initiation points. Your solar years, or how do you your Saturn years? What's it? Or your solar years and the different cycles that we go through in different parts in our lives, right? The child becoming the man, or the woman becoming, the girl becoming the woman, or whatever it is. We don't see what birth is really about, or what a pregnant woman, and that process. We have no idea. We're completely removed from it. We're completely removed from it, right? And so the thing is that most people, like I say, are never really alive. They're not, I really feel that people aren't really truly alive. I think they're having a minor experience of things, and sometimes a little bit of a major experience. But the things is that the experiences that they're having don't transform them in any sort of way, don't grow them in any sort of way. I mean, like for example, I don't know, you know, a loved one dies, and the people at the funeral they mourn and they're heartbroken and they cry, and for that moment they might think about death, and they might think about how everything is so transient, all flows, but for one moment. But then after that, a few days later, they're just wanting to get, they don't contemplate on it. They might think about the person and miss the person, but they don't look at the existential nature of things. They don't look and say, well, one day we're all going to die. What the hell that's about? What's the hell about? What's the point in life? Like, they're not interested in that, right? It's they don't think about that. So the loss of the person, the trauma of death, or if it's an untimely death, there's no question about it. But this person isn't really growing, right? They aren't really developing. They aren't saying, well, life is of, time is of the essence, and life is to be. What is life about? Let's just say, what is it about? I mean, just coming back, even like religion. Again, like going to the priest to ask for not abstinence but absolution. This idea that you go up to the priest and you be like, well, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And he says, okay, say 3 Hail Marys and you're cleaned. And you literally think that you're cleaned. For myself, being Jewish, I would go to synagogue on the high holiday and fast for the day of Yom Kippur, the Day of Judgment, which was basically the idea that if you can ask for God's forgiveness, then He'll either prescribe you in the subscribe you in the book of life or book of death, right? And it was just of you understanding that you prayed so hard and you fasted on that day and you asked for forgiveness for all your sins. Although, this was my problem, is that it was never really personal. It wasn't really about like my own evils, or even my inner evils, or my inner darkness. It was just the words that I were given in the books to repeat, in the prayer books, just repeat. And I thought, well, how's this personal to me? These aren't my words. I need to sort of self-reflect. So there was no self-reflection. And for myself, it was all about like sort of the sins that I did towards God, so to speak. Masturbation, I don't know. I didn't give enough charity. I spoke badly about my neighbor. I coveted my neighbor's wife, or something like it. Whatever it might have been, all these things is these sins against God. But what about the sins against myself? There was nothing like that, right? Nothing like that for myself. So it was like there was no introspection. And so, but I'm under the illusion that after this day, just like so many others, that I'm pure and I'm clean. I mean, if that's not such a farce, if that's not such a joke, then I don't know what is. You know what I mean? And so, but this is what we've been sort of given. This is what we've been handed down. A lot of people also with psychedelics, man. It's like amazing what's happened to psychedelics. People go to the Amazonian jungle, and for a lot of people, sure, it does help, but for a lot, it doesn't, right? I've seen people, I know that they've gone, I don't know, 7 grams psilocybin mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, you name it, LSD, whatever it is. In my own opinion, they're the same kind of person. Haven't grown, haven't developed, nothing's really changed about them, whatever it is. That's in my opinion. I just haven't seen people progress. I haven't seen change, right? And a lot of people, what I feel is that they actually use the psychedelic as the thing that will save them from themselves. You know, I have this one friend who I was speaking to a while back, and she was saying, "Well, I really need mushrooms to help sort me out." And I was saying, "Look, the mushrooms can assist to a certain degree, but don't put all the responsibility on the mushroom, right? Because I already felt in her own life that she wasn't doing the work that was necessary or needed. You know, she wasn't doing it. So again, being dependent and relying on the mushroom to do it, an external outside force. Like I don't believe in myself to be able to do it. I can't do it. Forget about it. You know. And so, immature, not being responsible, or whatever it is. And anyway, children of the Matrix, right? Not people of the Matrix. Well, people, yes, but children of the Matrix. And again, like I feel that there's an age to the soul, in a way, if you will. Like I feel that in incarnation, reincarnation, let's just say, like now this room's going to echo because I closed the door. But with reincarnation, I don't know. I think that I think there's an age to the soul, that the soul has an age, okay, and that on the level of which you grew to the degree that you did on this level, I'm saying on a soulful level, right? Because it's all about soul in a sense, all coming from the soul. The soul is the one that's evolving, or the thing that's evolving, that's growing, that's learning, right? That's making the necessary changes, it's making the necessary sacrifice, it's making the right choices in the life, whatever it is. It's the soul that I believe it's once the body dies and is buried and turns to dust, right? And the personality, a lot of the things go. It's what's been actualized by the soul, what's been captivated by the soul, what's the data, the experience that the soul carries, in a sense, the signal, so to speak, the experience. It's all in this on the soul, right? Or inhabited in the soul, carried in the soul, and then off to the next dimension, if you will, right? But so much is being left behind, and that's okay because and so the growth, the soul has aged, let's just say, and when it arrives on the other side, beyond the grave, that it's expanded in size. Let's just say, I mean, for lack of a better word, whatever it is, it's more knowledgeable, it's more wise, it's more kind, it's more complete, it's more, whatever. And but the problem is that if one doesn't grow, I mean, if one's soul is not, aged in this world through the experience of life and aging and everything else, that the soul arrives on the other side as a child, and so what I find is that maybe like with people is that they revert back to the child image, if you will. I don't know if it works in images on the other side. I mean, it must be to some degree, whatever it might be. But you understand, it's like they're children. They're running around. Like what I'm saying, let's say my Uncle Joe, right, who's now 67 years old. But when I see him on the other side, he will be 9 years old. So to speak, his soul will be at a 9-year-old level. Now, I'm not talking about in terms of this lifetime but I am saying it's an immature soul. It's not an advanced soul. It's not an old soul. It can be an old soul, potentially, but it hasn't, you know, whatever it is, because then the veils are stripped away. The illusion of the wrinkles or the grey hairs of Uncle Joe, and the big round tummy, is no longer there. And so you can see him, oh, okay, Uncle Joe, the impression that I get of him is a 6 and a half year old child. Which, in truth, if I had to look at Uncle Joe now, would probably be at a 6.5-year-old child. And that's what I'm kind of saying. So the veils are stripped away. Anyway, my point being, and what I'm saying, coming back to this, is that it's hard. It's very despairing, and being around children of the Matrix. All right. And it's very convincing a lot of the time. And it also reflects on us. Like sometimes for myself, I feel it really takes me having to talk to somebody who's an older soul, who's progressed, who's mature, who's kind, who understands what real love is, or, maturity, ethics, values, virtues, goodness, right? Whatever, suffering, and those kind of the conscious people. It takes me to talk to a conscious person, and hopefully, which is very seldom, to be in the company of a conscious person, to be able to feel my worth, to be able to express myself where I'm understood, when I'm appreciated, acknowledged, respected, celebrated, loved, to such a deep degree. And it reminds me of everything that I am, and I just feel so purposeful. I feel so accomplished. It's just that recognition. There's something in that. It's just that recognition, and it just makes me feel so whole and so complete. And it's not a, I'm not, you'll say, well, that's maybe codependency. And that's fine, but it's a healthy codependency. I mean, a rose would not have a beautiful smell if there was no nose to smell it. Only with the smelling of a nose, with the ability of a nose, can a rose have a smell, so to speak. I mean, the rose probably knows, well, I probably smell nice, but I can't know how it's nice I smell, because I'm the ones, that's doing the smelling. So in a sense, not the actual verb, is it the verb? Yeah. But like, so we don't know. We need the reflection. We're dependent on it. And a rose can know how beautiful it smells by a nose that comes along and gives it a smell, and just, ah, And everything is looking for acknowledgement, I find. Everything is looking for acknowledgement of its place that it holds in this material realm, in this dimension. I'm saying even animals, even a bird, you know? Okay, maybe not everything, I don't know, but to a certain degree, like a baby. A baby just wants to be acknowledged, says, yes, I exist. I see myself through your eyes in a healthy way in the beginning stages. And then it becomes all toxic, of course. But that's what it's about, you know? And so we can see ourselves through each other's eyes in a healthy way. And we see who we really are. And again, I can only see you if I can see myself. And that's what I'm saying, is when you're messing around with the children of the Matrix, all they can see is, they can't even see themselves, so they can't see you. You're just a figment, or they're just a figment of their own imagination. Like I say, they're not even really alive. And we can get into a whole other discussion of why I feel they're not really even alive. They're scared to exist. They're scared to exist, because to exist means that you're not part of the crowd, that you're an individual, and that's the biggest of fears, which is for another talk, I suppose, another convo, another recording. But something like that, and so they're not really alive, and to a degree out of choice, because they're in such fear. They're absolutely in fear of being alive. Fear in life is having to fly your own rocket ship mid-air. You're learning, that's awakening. That's what consciousness is. You don't awake, you don't arrive at consciousness while somebody's teaching you, you're sitting in a rocket on the ground a year before takeoff, and they're going through all the instructions. No. Consciousness awakening is that you realize mid-flight that you're in a rocket ship, and you've got to land this sucker, and you've got to be able to navigate and fly and understand what's going on mid-air. Anyway, that's for another talk, as well. But that's what also makes it hard because the individual, I'm saying and I'll come back to what I'm saying, that a 6-year-old child, right, the soul that wakes up in the 45-year-old person's body, there's a lot of anxiety there. There's a lot of anxiety because what the hell does a 6.5-year-old child know how to raise 3 children or 4 children? How does a 6.5-year-old child know how to be a man? Doesn't. How to protect its family, how to look after its family, how to look after himself. Can't do it. Doesn't know how. Hold down the job, doesn't have any confidence. Working at a 6.5-year-old child level, emotionally, In fact, its children, this 45-year-old man's children, are more of his friends and his pals than he is a father to his children. And I've seen this time and time again. I don't see fathers anymore most of the time. In fact, I haven't seen a father for quite a long time in my own personal direct experience. I haven't seen one face to face, right? I see I see mothers that have given birth, but I see them as more sisters to their children, you know. And so that's the thing with consciousness. So you wake up, it's very difficult. Right? You wake up, not only that, but you wake up 45 years old, let's say, and again, the older you get, the harder it is to wake up, I think. That's why he says to Morpheus, says to Neo in the Matrix, I owe you an apology, Neo, because we don't usually wake anybody up over the age of 30 because the mind becomes so rigid. It becomes so sort of hardwired that it's very, very hard to unloosen. And that's really big. Anyway, so what am I saying here? Age of the soul. Yeah, that's what. So people easier to wake up when you're a bit younger, but again, not just wake up to the conspiracy, not just to wake up to the establishment, not just to wake up and say, that the QAnon or whatever it is going to save the day or something like that. From a concept. Oh well, 9/11 was this an inside job. I'm not talking about that. To the grander conspiracy that you've never actually looked within yourself and you're not actually even alive, that you got stopped along the way at a 6.5-year old, and that's where you're at now. It's pretty far out. I mean, that's not what somebody wants to hear. They'd rather hear how many times over that the government is rotten or whatever it is, and these people are perpetuating this, and they're trying to victimize you and teach you how to learn helplessness and whatever it is, and we can blame them and protest them and go to war with them and spend our time studying all of them. That's what we'll do, rather than actually say, hey, wait just a minute. Do I have the eyes to go within? Turn them inwardly, not externally. Anyway, so ending off is just saying that it's difficult because we get lost in the illusion with the others, right? With the children of the matrix, we become like a child ourselves, and we treat it with much disrespect. I mean, every day for myself, am I treated with such disrespect, right? And you feel that you should be respected more so because like you feel, well, I'm more of an awakened soul. I've taken more of a responsibility of life. I'm shedding more light into this world and darkness, and that makes me quite unique and quite special and quite divine. And I walk in the footsteps of the divine and in love, and I'm saintly in a sense. And that's not just being grandiose. It's just feeling accomplished. That's feeling complimented. That's feeling confident. Like wow, it's amazing. And so, but you're not getting the reception that you deserve. In fact, you're being treated that you're somebody who needs to, wear a mask, stand in line, roll up your sleeve, take this needle, you got to do this, you got to, whatever it might be. You got to adhere, I'm just giving some poor examples, to the rule of the law, of other people's and whatever it is. And so you're having to climb through that 500-yard sewage pipe, like in Shawshank Redemption. I mean, here's Andy Dufresne. If it wasn't for him, I'm just saying what he did for the hearts and the minds of the prisoners in Shawshank. And yet, what did he need to do? He needed to climb through 500 yards. I think it's 2 soccer fields or 2 football fields in length of just raw sewage. And that's what this life's about. And so but that's what it makes you feel like you do, being involved with children of the Matrix and relationships with them and whatever it is. I'm saying whether it's mom, dad, Uncle Joe, you know, guru, priest. A lot of times it's just insulting. It's just ridiculing. It's mockery, right? That this world is doing constantly. People trying to manipulate, right? Self-centeredness, ruthlessness, insensitivity, whatever it might be, deceit, a whole story, pathological, infectious, contagious, there, and whatever it is. And that's what we met with. And so again, on the one hand, you just don't want. It's very hard to get that true divine reception of, hold on, wait a minute, I am on this journey. I am divine. The soul is progressing. It is growing. It is flowering. It is blossoming. Whatever it is, there is magic happening here. You know, there is an unfoldment larger than I can ever anticipate and imagine. And, to have that reminder, to have that reflection from others, I mean, that's just, again, just the sensation of home, the feeling of just home, whatever that means. And that's what we do for one another, you know. And we connect with one another and we're unconditional with one another. And that's the reason, again, for myself starting a new channel, is that I can just hope that if I have a smaller sort of subscriber base, in a way, and people that are consistent viewers and interactors in a way, that hopefully we can build something from that. I don't know how or where, but it's just, if it's a possibility, then why not? Sort of, try and envision, try and manifest this kind of possibility of family, you know, and fellow soul travelers, to constantly be reminding and reflecting and receiving one another for who we truly are. Alright, man. I'll end up for that for now. We'll chat soon. Take care, man.